everybody. Welcome to Vinyl Treasures. I'm your host, Johnny G, John Galindo, coming to you live each and every Saturday only here on Top Shelf Oldies. Want to welcome you to the February 20th, 2021 Vinyl Treasure Show. This will be, this is my, well, it's not the last Saturday of the month, but it will be the last 50's edition for this month. It's a short month. Next week will be my All 60's show, but pulled out some cool 45, some rare ones, and lots of requests for you, the listeners. We opened up tonight's 50's edition with Big J McNeely and a tune he wrote. It's called The Deacon's Hop, initially released in January of 1949 on Herman Lubinsky's Savoy record label. It was a big #1 Billboard R&B hit for Big J McNeely back then, but owner Herman Lubinsky re-released it in December of 1954 and flipped it with actually another old release done by Paul Williams, The Hucklebuck, which is another cool tune, which maybe, I don't know why re-released it, maybe some disc jockey was using it as a theme song or something, possibly, but that's one there. The copy that I played was on a 45, December 54, Big J McNeely on Savoy, The Deacon's Hop. Well, enough of my babbling here. Lots of flip sides from last week and requests, so we open up with a flip side from last week. I played the debut single for Ronnie Jones and the Classmates. Came out on George Goldner's G label. I think it was requested by Evan Blatt. He requested the side called Little Girl Next Door, but I like the flip side too. Let's go back to August 1957. We open up the vocal portion with Ronnie Jones and the Classmates on the Black End label. It's called Teenage Rock. Kitty leads as we open up the vocal portion here on the Vinyl Treasures Show. August 57 release. First of two for Ronnie Jones and the Classmates on the N record label, Teenage Rock. The flip side is Little Girl Next Door is the name of the tune. Johnny G losing his mind. I had to shovel a little. I am done with the snow. Done with the snow. We're supposed to have more tomorrow evening. I didn't go shopping on Friday afternoon, so I'm going to have to go tomorrow. But maybe it'll be better at the Stop and Shop that or the ShopRite that I go to. Johnny G here spinning original vinyl 45s. We are here 10 to 1 a.m. If I keep on saying midnight, I'm sorry to say that, but I'm here for the next 3 hours. Let's continue here. Another request last week was for Katie of Vintage and Vinyl. You can check out her YouTube page, Vintage and Vinyl. You can check it out. She's a record collector now, and she's also into cool antiques, cool little Coca-Cola collectibles and other types of collectibles. Check out her YouTube page. But she requested the Echoes on George Goldner's G record label. The song was called Ding Dong, a cover of the Packards, a song that they did on the Paradise label. Now, both sides of this 45 are jump sides, and there's no mention of Jimmy Wright and his orchestra, but I'm sure it's him on the saxophone here. It's a cool rockin' sax solo on this side here. So let's go back to January 1957. Let's flip over Ding Dong by the Echoes on the G label. The song is called My Heart Beats for You.
Dum bop dum bop da bop da bop
Dum bop dum bop dum bop da bop dum bop dum bop da bop da bop dum bop dum bop da bop
bum bum bum.
My heart beats for you, oh oh, darling, I love you so. Oh baby, don't you know? Oh oh, my heart beats for you, oh oh. I'm heading to and fro, baby, don't ever go. When you're near, so help me, dear, children of my spine. I love you so, never ever let you go till you say you're mine. My heart beats for you, oh oh. When you're away, I'm low, baby, don't ever go. So help me, dear, children of my spine. I love you so, never ever let you go till you say you're mine. My heart beats for you, oh oh. When you're away, I'm low, baby, don't ever go. Babe, don't ever go.
Yeah, that's got to be. That is definitely Jimmy Wright and the orchestra there. I'm surprised that George Goldner didn't mention him on the label there. That's pretty interesting there. The Echoes, January 1957. That's the flip side of Ding Dong, George Goldner's red and black G record label. My Heart Beats for You is the name of the tune. Now, Charlene mentioned in her research, Vinny Catalano was the lead singer. I don't know if it was, I can't confirm it, but he definitely was in the group. And another group member or known member of this group was the co-writer on this, Kenny Kulega. He co-wrote this side here that we just featured. And Katie, if you're looking for that 45, you should be able to find the reissue pretty easy on the Roulette record label. Well, maybe I don't know if he released that side. Definitely Ding Dong, I think Morris Levy put out on Roulette Records, so you should easily find that one. But if you're looking for it on original, it might be a little bit more harder. Johnny G babbling on here. We count down the music chronologically here on the 50s and early 60s edition, and this one's from 1952, and actually it's a request for Daniel Kubacki. Now, this specific song was my parents' wedding song. They got married in August of 1957, and this was their wedding song. I don't know know if they played this version, no, but the song goes back. It's a standard and dates back to 1934, I think. But this is a nice rendition by this group out of Baltimore, Maryland. They're known as the Swallows. It's their sixth release on Sid Nathan's King record label. It's featuring Junior Denby on lead. This is by request for Daniel Kubacki, May 1952 on the King record label. These are the Swallows with their rendition of the tune I Only Have Eyes for You.
Are the stars out tonight? I don't know if it's cloudy or bright, for I only have eyes for you, dear. The moon hangs on high, but I can't see a thing in the sky, for I only have eyes for you. I don't know if we're in a garden or on a crowded avenue. You are here, so am I. Maybe millions of people go by, but they all disappear from view. And I only have eyes for you. And I only have eyes for you.
As by request for Daniel Kubacki there, those are the Swallows. Junior Denby on lead there, the Swallows from May 1952 on Sid Nathan's King record label. I Only Have Eyes for You. I'm going to have to play that later on. I'll have my mother have to listen on the archive there because she likes this type of sound in this song. My father can't hear anymore, so he's got to put his hearing aids in. That's why I can blast the music. That's one thing when your father goes deaf. Not that I want him to go deaf, but I now can play the music all the way up at 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning because he can't hear. But anyway, for you collectors out there, the true first presses of this must show the A and the double A next to the number. I'll show you the record again. You can check it out. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening. Let's continue here. Now, back in 1976, when I was a senior in high school, it was the bicentennial year, and General Motors, we had a big General Motor plant here in my town. They had this monster flea market at the Terrytown parking lot. That day I purchased hundreds of 45s from local neighbors and people in town that they brought out all their old stuff and all their records. So people that went to the high school in the 50s, they brought all their records out. And I was like in my glory because I didn't know a lot about the music back then. But I found this next song on a 78, and I didn't know who she was. I didn't know. And the person who had these records, he had a box of about 50 78s. They were 15 cents each. I bought them all. There was a little they put like some nail polish like a certain colors of nail polish, maybe for their favorites or whatever. I didn't care, 15 cents, but I eventually picked up the 45. But this gal, she's originally from Harlem, New York. She was crippled from birth, but that didn't stop her from having a very successful singing career. This is her 5th of 15 releases on Herman Lubinsky's Savoy record label. This one from July 52. Give a listen to Veretta Dillard on the Savoy label. It's called Them Their Eyes.
I fell in love with you the first time I looked into them their eyes. You got a certain little cute way of flirting with them their eyes. They make me feel so happy. They make me feel so blue. Baby, I'm falling, yes, I'm falling, falling in a great big way for you. My heart is jumping. You started something with them their eyes. You better watch out, little brown eyes, if you want. And they sparkle, and they bubble, get you in a whole lot of trouble. Oh, baby, them their eyes. My heart is jumping. You started something with them their eyes. Now you better watch out, little brown eyes, if you want. They sparkle and they bubble, get you in a whole lot of trouble. Oh, baby, talking about those eyes.
That's Veretta Dillard there. I always like that tune there. She's got quite a few releases on Herman Lubinsky's Savoy record label. That one there, her fifth from July 1952, Savoy Records, Them Their Eyes. She has other good releases on Groove Records with groups like the Students, who were also the Qs, I think. She has releases on RCA. She has some on Cub Records and a couple other labels for Miss Veretta Dillard. Johnny G here on a Saturday evening. We continue here. Now, last week I played a request for listener Nat Papagallo down in Naples, Florida. He requested the Great Five Keys, their 6th release on Eddie and Leo Mesner's Aladdin label. The song was called Mistakes, and that side featured the great Rudy West on lead, and it was 3 listeners in chat. I think it was Pat, Daryl, and Daniel asked for the flip side of this, which features no, did I mess that up? It's not. What did I do? Charlene, did I mess that up? I don't know if Rudy West is on lead or not. I think he's on lead on the flip here, as Johnny G is losing his mind here. But anyway, we're going to flip the 45 over here, give a listen to the 5 keys from May of 1952 on the Aladdin record label, and we're going to send it out to those 3 guys, Pat, Daryl, and Daniel. These are the 5 keys with their tune called How Long?
How long will you want me? How long will you stay? How long will I need you and a day. How long will you love me? Will it come to an end till you tell me yes? I'll be loving you till then. How long will it last? Or will I soon be in your past? My love never dies, but you've been telling me lies. How long will you hold me? How long will you stay? How long will I need you? Forever and a day. Tell me, how long will it last? Or will I soon be in your past? My love never dies, but you've been telling me lies. How long will I want you? How long will you stay? How long will I need you? Forever and a day.
That's a great Rudy West and the Five Keys there. What a great tune that is. How long? Five Keys, I mean, they sounded good on their Aladdin releases, and again, they got even better, more polished when they recorded on the Capitol label, even though they probably became a little bit more popish, but still with that sound. But that's the great Five Keys, May 1952 on the Aladdin record label. How long? There's still like a pressing defect on this side too. Not as bad as the flip, but I have a nice Stone Mint 78 on that one. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening as we continue here. And up next, a request for listener Joe Shacatano. You can send your requests to Vinyltreasures at AOL.com. Joe is one of my core listeners, and I look forward to Joe's request each and every Saturday evening. Thank you, Joe, for all your correspondence. But this lead singer of this next group, he's from Waco, Texas in the 1930s and 40s, sang with a group called the Charioteers, and in 1951 formed his own group, and they signed with MGM Records. Then, sometime in 52, the group switched over to another major label, that being Mercury Records. Now, Joe requested the group's 5th of 10 on the Mercury record label. Let's give this one a spin. Send it out to Joe. It's from January 53. It's the Billy Williams Quartet. Billy Williams on lead here. This is on the Mercury label, going out to Joe. The song is called Pour Me a Glass of Teardrops.
Pour me a glass of teardrops, and I'll tell you a joke about a broken heart. You can laugh anytime you're ready, 'cause it's funny, yes, it's funny from the start. Oh, it seems there were once two lover with a love as sure as any love could be. Now he chased her and he teased with little false alarms. The punchline is he chased her into someone else's arms. So pour me a glass of teardrops and have one big laugh on me. Pour me a glass of teardrops and I'll tell you a joke about a broken heart.
When do we laugh?
Laugh anytime you're ready.
Is it funny?
Yes, it's funny from the start. Seems there were once two lovers with a love as sure as any love could be.
He chased her
Yes.
and he teased her with little false alarms.
Yes, he did.
The punchline is he chased her into someone else's arms.
Oh, pour me a glass of teardrops and have a laugh. One great big laugh. One great big laugh on me.
As Barak West for Joe Shacatano. That's a pretty cool tune by the Billy Williams Quartet there. January 1953 came out on the Mercury record label. A song entitled Pour Me a Glass of Teardrops. That's their 5th of 10 on the label there. Now, did you know that when Dick Clark took his American Bandstand nationwide, the first act to perform or lip sync on the show was the Billy Williams Quartet? They had a 1957 hit on the Choral label, a pop hit called I'm Gonna Sit Right Down and Write Myself a Letter. But they were the first group to be seen nationally on ABC TV on American Bandstand. Johnny G here on a Saturday evening. Now that I got all you guys ready for alcoholic beverages or Coca-Cola or water, I have a cup of coffee here next to me and also some cranberry juice. That's my vice. But this one is for all the wine drinkers out there as we go to Sidney Siegel's Dawn record label for the first of two for a group called the Bards. These are the Bards on the Dawn record label with Al Williams and his orchestra. May 1954, the Bards with their tune called I'm a Wine Drinker.
Wine, 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 ba-ba-la-la-la. Wine, wine.
I'm a wine drinker, drink up all your wine. I'm a wine drinker, drink up all your wine. Drink up all of yours and drink up all of mine.
Wine, wine, wine.
I'm a wine drinker, going to have myself a ball. I'm a wine drinker, going to have myself a ball. Drink up all your wine and baby, that ain't all. Got a wife in Georgia and a gal in Tennessee.
Wine, wine, wine.
Got a wife in Georgia and a gal in Tennessee.
Wine, wine, wine.
They drink that stuff and that's what worries me. Yet I love them both and I'm going to treat them right.
Wine, wine, wine.
Yes, I love them both and I'm going to treat them right.
Wine, wine, wine.
Gonna drink that stuff until my head gets tight.
He's a wine, wine, wine drinker. He's a wine, wine.
got a head like a melon, mind like a clock. When I get to loving, I don't know when to stop. I'm a wine drinker, drink up all your wine. Drink up all of yours and drink up all of mine. When you see me coming, don't turn your head. Put away your whiskey, bring out your wine. I'm a wine drinker, drink up all your wine. Drink up all of yours and drink up all of mine. Let's drink some wine. Let's drink some wine. Let's get together in all kinds of weather, but let's drink some wine.
Yeah, those are the Bards. The Bards, they're the first of two, excuse me, on Sidney Siegel's Dawn record label. I'm a Wine Drinker, May 1954. Of course, alcohol, one of the topics. I think there were 4 topics that vocal groups would sing about, that being love, that being alcohol. What else? Love songs, alcohol, babies. No, I don't know. I read it in the Steve Probst. One of the first books I read on record collecting was put out by Steve Probst in the 1970s. That was how I was reading to become a record collector, I should say. Anyway, Johnny G babbling on here. Let's continue here as we head to Detroit, Michigan for a request for Joe Shacatano. It's the debut single for the Pearls, but with their first single, they were known as the Five Pearls. Now, their first single came out on a Los Angeles, California label, Aladdin Records. It's possible Aladdin had offices in Detroit. I mean, a lot of record companies, they did that. They had satellite offices. They were looking for talent in many of the big cities. But this song features Howard Guyton. He has an unmistakable voice, I have to say, Howard Guyton. But this is their first record, September 1954. The Five Pearls on Aladdin, going out to Joe Shacatano. It's called Please Let Me Know.
Please say you love me, that you'll always be true. Please say you love me half as much as I love you. Anyone can see I love you so. Please say you love me, darling, please let me know. Please let me know you are my first love, and you'll be my last. I know I'm not your first, but that's all in the past. Anyone can see I love you so. Please say you love me, darling, please let me know. Please let me know. We two could be so happy if we were together always. Wow. We two could be so happy.
Love for the rest of our days.
Say you love me, darling, that you'll always be true. Please, say you love me, darling, half as much as I love you. Anyone can see I love you so. Please say you love me, darling, please. Please let me know.
As Johnny G gets caught here talking about that record. That's by request for Joe Shacatano there. What a great tune that is by the Five Pearls, September 1954. Came out on Eddie and Leo Mesner's Aladdin Records out of Los Angeles, California. Please Let Me Know. It featured Howard Guyton on lead. Now, all the copies of this play with surface noise. I don't know what it was with this pressing, but they do. Even the ones that come like kind of like on an orange label. So there are some of the presses like more on an orange color Aladdin. But I played a pressing, those of you that were actually questioning the small hole like an LP hole. But the center hole was not punched out on the copy I have here. It was like probably on the bottom. They probably stack a number of records. When they press the record up to put the label on, then they punch out the center with a puncher, and it probably didn't get to this one. It looks like there's some jagged edges on there. I got to kind of file it down a little bit. But that's what happened with this press. It's kind of a mistake at the pressing plant. But it's got a nasty point on one of the edges, but I got to file it down. But I thought it was pretty cool. Anyway, Johnny G spinning original vinyl. Hope you're digging on the cool tunes here. Let's continue. And we move into 1955 now with a request for Daniel Kubacki, the Great Flamingos, and a B-side to their Second of Nine that came out on Leonard Chess's Checker label. Now, the writer credit on this goes out to the lead singer, that being Nate Nelson, and WINS DJ Alan Freed. Had his hands not only in the payola scandal, but also with a lot of the label owners to get royalty payments for the song and the publishing, etc. But really, we needed Alan Freed at that time to really make this music popular to everyone. So this is by request here, going out to Daniel Kubacki, July 1955, the Flamingos on Checker. It's called I Want to Love You. As by request for Daniel Kubacki there, the great Flamingos there. Nate Nelson on lead. July 1955 on the Checker label, I Want to Love You. That is the name of the tune. It's actually the B-side. The A-side is a great tune also. It's called Please Come Back Home. That's their second release on the Checker label. We continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. We are in the year 1955. We count down the music chronologically here. I saw this 45 in the V-Box. I was looking for a request for Billa for Bop Hop Boom. I think that's his name in the YouTube chat room. And I saw this in the box. I mean, I have multiple copies of this record. I probably have about 15 copies of this Valentine's 45. But it just brings back fond memories, this song, because my Aunt Mary purchased this 45 in the fall of 1955. And it's the group's second release on George Gollner's Rama record label. It's the follow-up to their New York hit. I'm sure many of you know it's called Lily Mae Bell. But this side, or most of all the sides, featured Richard Barrett. He's the lead singer, and I'm going to send this one out also to Joe Bouza because he likes this tune also. It's his favorite, and it's my favorite too. And this really started the collecting journey for your host, Johnny G. We go back to November 1955. Great two-sided 45 by the Valentines on the Rama record label. Let's give a listen to I Love You, Darling.
I love you, darling. I love you so. I love you, darling. I love you so. I love you, darling. And I won't ever let you know. Never let you go. I need you, baby. I need you so. I need you, baby. I need you so. I need you, baby. And I won't ever let you never let you go. I love you, darling. You know it's true. I need you, baby. You know I do. I love you, darling. And I won't ever let you, baby. Never let you go.
As Richard Barrett and the Valentines, their November 1955 release, George Gollner's Rama record label, I Love You, Darling. Great two-sided 45. The flip side, another great tune, Hand Me Down Love. But that's the record that got Johnny G to collecting. That was my addiction. That whole record there. Anyway, Johnny G babbling on here for a Saturday evening as we continue here. Now, last week I featured a group called the Starlings. 50's, group out of the Bronx, New York, and their second release on Sidney Siegel's Dawn label. The song was called I Gotta Go Now. That featured Larry Gales on lead. The flip side features the lead of Bill Lindsay. He's on lead on the flip here. This one from March 1955. Let's give it a spin here. The Starlings on the Dawn label with a song entitled Aloo Aloo parentheses, What's New?
What's new are just the stars in your eye, a lovely portrait of you that makes my temperature rise. And you are like the stars up above. To you I give all my love. What's new is my love for you. What's new are just the stars in your eyes. They shine like the ones in the sky. And you, yes, I have a heartache for you. Can I be truer to you? What's new is my love for you.
Great two-sided 45 there by a group called the Starlings. March 1955 release on the Dawn label. Aloo Aloo, parentheses, What's New? And that one there featured Bill Lindsay. He's on lead there. The group would later record as the Twilighters on the MGM record label. And Bill Lindsay, he will return later on. I'm actually in a few more records here because he was also a member of a group called The Bachelors. He actually wrote the song that I'll be playing. Johnny G here, spinning original vinyl 45s. Now, last week, I featured Nolan Strong and the Diablos. Actually, George Tompkins requested their 8th release on Devorah Brown's Fortune label, the ballad side, called A Teardrop from Heaven. And it was listener Daryl Letts. He asked if I could flip the 45 over. It's a cool jump side, the B-side, written by the lead singer. His name is Nolan Strong. So this is going out to Daryl here. October 1956 now. We move into 1956. We head to Detroit, Michigan. Nolan Strong and the Diablos and their tune called Try Me One More Time.
When I woke up this morning, my baby sat down on my bed. She said, I'm leaving you, baby. And this is what I said. I said, please, please try me one more time. She said, I made up my mind. And I want somebody else. And I'm going out and have fun for myself. I said, please, please try me one more time. I give you my love every night. And I did everything to say that you were treated right.
As by request for Daryl Letts there. That's a cool, you know what that song reminds me of? It's a rocker by Richie Valens, Ooh My Head. Listen to that record again. I wonder if he was listening to that record. Anyway, it's October 1956. Nolan Strong and the Diablos on Devorah Brown's Fortune Records, the great Fortune record label out of Detroit, Michigan. Try Me One More Time. Try the Johnny G Vinyl Treasure Show one more time. I'll be back in 2 weeks with more 50s and early 60s 45s out of my collection. The last Saturday of the month, I revert to my All 60s show, 1964 post-Beatle records. So some of you tune out, you get a break, and then be back for 2 weeks. So send me your requests. As now I'm starting to put my 60s stuff in kind of an order. So I found 3 requests so far for my 60s show. One was John Clemente wanted a Brenton Wood record. I think I found Joe Shacatano. I found That Last Word. And then I found a Jewel Aiken. That's someone who requested anyway. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening as we continue here. Now on last week's show, I played a request for Rick in Philly. He requested the debut 45 by the Avalons, a group from Newport News, Virginia. Their release on the Groove label. Rick requested the jump side. It was called Ooh She Flew, which featured Bernard Purdy on lead. And the flip side is a wonderful ballad that George Tompkins requested. This side features Raphael Ingram on lead. We go back to February 1956. Give a listen to the Avalons. The Avalons on the Groove label with a song entitled Chains Around My Heart.
Around my heart, each leaf a memory that keeps reminding me of your love that used to be. There's rain around my heart, each drop a tear from you. I'm so alone and blue with these chains around my heart. Around my heart, I paid all my mistakes. Won't you come back and break these chains around my heart?
As by request for George Tompkins there, the great Avalons, the Avalons, Raphael Ingram on lead, February 1956, song entitled Chains Around My Heart. I saw him sing Raphael Ingram got together. I think the T.J. Lubinsky, one of the shows, they sang My Heart's Desire. He sounded exactly like the record. It was amazing, but I think he has since passed away. But that voice of Raphael Ingram there, what a great tune that is by the Avalons. We continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. We are in the year 1956, and we continue with the request. This one for Rick in Philly. He requested an early side by the Four Tops. Yes, the same group that eventually had all those monster hits on the Motown record label, but they started way earlier than 1964, 63 when they recorded, 64 I think, when they were on Motown Records. First recording in April of 1955, they were doing background vocals for Carolyn Hayes on the Chateau label. I have those 45s, I do, but I saw on one of the Detroit sites today that it said they had a release in 1956 on the Grady label as the Four Aims, which is interesting, and I've never seen that record, so I don't know if that even exists, but I guess it does. We'll see. I'll have to do a little bit more research. But they did sign with Leonard Chess's Chess label, and this is by request for Rick. It features 19-year-old Levi Stubbs on lead, and he's singing in his natural baritone voice. This is by request for Rick. April 1956, the Four Tops. The Four Tops with Levi Stubbs on lead on the Chess label. It's called Could It Be You?
I'm looking, trying my best to find some little girl who will share this love of mine. Could it be you, Mary Lou? Could it be you, Susan May? Could it be you, Lucille? Could it be you, Maybelline? Could it be you, honey child, who will share this love of mine? She must be willing and able to love me right in the middle of the day and all times of night. She must love me long, love me strong, until my heart beats the tune like a bell. Ding dong. Could it be you who will share this love of mine? Every minute of the hour and every hour of the day and every day of the week and every week of the month and every month of the year. And baby, look here, I need your love year after year. Could it be you, Dolores? Could it be you? Could it be you, Gloria? Could it be you? Could it be you, Chiquita? Could it be you? Could it be you, Colita? Could it be you? You are the child who will share this love of mine. Doobie-doo-wop, doobie-doo-doo. She must be willing and able to love me right in the middle of the day and all times of night. She must love me long, love me strong, until my heart rings the tune like a bell. Ding dong. Could it be you who share this love of mine? Could it be you, Dolores? Could it be you? Could it be you, Gloria? Could it be you? Could it be you, Chiquita? Could it be you? Could it be you, Colita? Could it be you? You are the child who will share this love of mine.
Has going out to Rick and Philly. Their early Four Tops, real early Four Tops, April 1956 release on the Chess record banner there, Could It Be You? And that is Levi Stubbs, 19-year-old Levi Stubbs on lead. Johnny G here on a Saturday evening. We continue. We are in the year 1956. We continue with the request. This time for Daniel Kubacki. This, another great group. They are originally from Gary, Indiana. This is their 8th release on Vivian Carter's VJ record label. This charted regionally. This was a number 8 record on WILY out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Features a Pookie Hudson on lead by request for Daniel. I'm sorry, did I say Daryl? It's Daniel Kubacki. That's who I meant. February 1956, The Spaniels on the VJ label with their tune called False Love.
Do 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 do.
False love, you got me crying. False love, I feel like dying. You've done me in, I'll never win. False love. Mistaken, and now my poor heart's breaking blue. Oh, there's nothing to false love. You tricked me from the start. Oh, you hurt me to my heart. You fooled me all the while. With the old devilish smile. Oh, love, please turn me loose. False love, you ain't no use. True love is sweet. You got me beat. False love. You tricked me from the start. Oh, you hurt me to my heart. Oh, you fooled me all the while. With the old devilish smile. False love, please turn me loose. False love, you ain't no use. True love is sweet. You got me beat. False love.
Those are the great Spaniels there. Pookie Hudson and the Spaniels by request for Daniel Kubacki. February 1956 release. That's their 8th release on the VJ record label. False Love is the name of the tune. No, Fred, not false center, slightly off center. I hate those records that are slightly off center. And yeah, some people say you can file down. I don't want to touch the center hole. I kind of want to line it up. But I don't have time. I only have a couple seconds between 45s when you're playing real records. I know Hi-Fi Tim doesn't have any problem with his off-center 45s because they're all on MP3s. As we continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show, up next a request for Nat Papagallo listening down in Naples, Florida. Very rare 45 Came out on a label called Earl Records, which was owned by Sammy Lowe and Tommy Smalls, DJ Tommy Smalls. But the label's out of New York City, but the group is out of the Bronx, New York. They're called The Bachelors. It's their second of two. This is a harder one to find. It's not easy to find this 45 either on, I have it on a DJ. I think the stock is even harder, but the DJs play better, I think, because Dolores, their first record's a grainy press, and my copy is Steve Flam's original copy. He passed away, and his wife was selling his 45s in Goldmine magazine when I was much younger, and I was bidding on the records. I won that one. That was his record. But anyway, this is the second, written by group member Bill Lindsay. We heard him earlier doing lead with the Starlings, but he was also a member of this group. Features Dean Barlow on lead. This is by request for Nat, 1956. Dean Barlow and the Bachelors on the Earl label. It's called Tell Me Now.
Now, darling, I must confess that I love you. Must you wait to say you love me too? Oh, my darling, if you feel the same as I do, tell me now, tell me now, tell me now, tell me now, tell me now. Oh, my dearest, I've made you cry. Yes, I've hurt you, but I paid for my mistakes when you said goodbye. Oh, my dear one, if you only would forgive me. Tell me now, tell me now, tell me now, tell me now, please tell me now. Oh, my dear, why must you wait when your heart conceals my face? Oh, you've been gone too long. Come back, baby. Well, you belong, baby. Baby, I can't forget you. Though I tried, somehow my heart just will not give in. Not give in. Baby, if you still love me, tell me now, 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 please tell me now.
As going out to Nat Papagallo there, The Bachelors, Dean Barlow on lead there. 1956, that's their second release on the Earl label, Tell Me Now. Nat, you're gonna put that in your in your jukebox, although he tells me that his jukebox has the stylus doesn't press so hard against the record, so it's not ruining the records. He said, depends, I guess, on the kind of jukebox. I don't know, but my experiences with jukeware on the 45s. Have a bunch of records that do have that. Not good. Anyway, Johnny G babbling on here as we continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. Up next, a request for George Tompkins, as this group is out of Philadelphia. Originally, they were called or I should say, the lead singer of this group was a member of a Philly group called The Dreams. They had 3 releases on the Savoy label. You may know the songs Darlene, Under the Willow, and I'll Be Faithful. Now, that lead singer on those recordings, his name was George Tinley, and after Savoy, or maybe it is the same group they signed with Al Silver's Ember Records and recorded 4 sides that resulted in 2 45s, 2 singles. And George Tinley wanted his name to be out there in front, but didn't want to use his real name, so he just made up a name. he decided to call himself Kenny Esquire, and he said, we're going to change the Dreams and change their name to the Starlights. And George requested their second release on the Ember label, so we'll send this one out to George. November 1956, Kenny Esquire, a.k.a. George Tinley, and the Starlights, a.k.a. the Dreams, on the Ember label. The song is called They Call Me a Dreamer.
They call me a dreamer. I guess I'll always be. For in my heart I know I'll always love you so. A dreamer am I. They call me a dreamer, but in my magic world of dreams, I'm never sad nor blue as long as I have you. A dreamer am I. Although they laugh at me, I'm not ashamed, you see. A dreamer, my darling, am I. Well, all my dreams came true, darling, when I found you. A dreamer, my darling, they call me a dreamer. I guess I'll always be, but in my heart I know I'll always love you so. A dreamer am I. Guess I'll always be, but in my heart I know I'll always love you so. Oh, dreamer am I.
A great tune there. Liking that one there in the YouTube chat room. Kenny Esquire, a.k.a. George Tinley, and the Starlights, a.k.a. the Dreams there, November 1956 on Al Silver's Ember record label. What'd I say? That was their second release, second of 2 on Ember. They Call Me a Dreamer. What a cool tune that is. Now, George Tinley, he would go on to have solo releases for Ember Records and other labels, and also sang with a group called the Modern Redcaps, and the Redcaps, I think. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening. Hope you're digging on the cool tunes here. Original vinyl, I feature it every Saturday from 10 to 1 a.m. here on Top Shelf Oldies. And those of you, thank you for tuning in on my YouTube channel. We continue here now. Last week I played a group called the Universals. They were out of Philadelphia. It was a request for Katie of Vintage and Vinyl, and she requested their rendition of the tune again. It was listener Daryl, of course, requested the flip side, which is a great jump tune, as we go to George Gollner's Mark X Records. If you have the one that says Mark, that is like some 60s reissue. Came out on the Mark X label. This one from September 1957, going out to Daryl, the Universals. It's called Teenage Love.
Oh, my teenage love, you like a rose spring, my teenage love. You are my everything, my teenage love. You know that you're in my heart. Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, my teenage love, you need the water roll, my teenage love. You made yourself a home, my teenage love. Right here in my heart. Real, baby, 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 baby.
I love you so.
More than you know. Oh, my teenage love, you be forever mine, my teenage love. Until the end of time, my teenage love. Oh, yes, you're mine. Real.
As going out to Daryl Letts there, the Universals. Sounded like Jimmy Wright there. Jimmy Wright and the orchestra, definitely George Gollner's Mark X record label. The Universals, the flip side of, again, September 1957 release. Teenage Love is the name of the tune from the Mark X record label. We continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. Up next, a request from my number one California listener, Matey Campboy. Gotta say hi to Matey Campboy. This one's on Juggy Murray's Sue record label. This group had two releases on the Sue label. Both are great in my opinion. Matey requested their first, which kicked off Juggy Murray's Sue record. This is Sue number 700. The group is known as the Matadors. It features Johnny Garfield on lead. He also wrote the tune. This one charted number 29 on KDAY out in Los Angeles, California, back in 1957. We go back to March 57 by request for Matey, the Matadors on Sue. The name of the tune is called Vengeance, parentheses, Will You Be Mine?
You broke my heart right from the start, boy. You made a fool of me in front of the crowd. Vengeance, oh, will be mine. You have me sighing. You have me crying fighting and vengeance. Oh, well, be mine. You, oh, you say to me that love was new. Oh, yeah, and all the time you knew you were making fun until, well, yeah, you had me sighing, you had me crying, oh, you had me crying, always defying and vengeance. Oh, well, be mine and vengeance. Oh, well, be mine.
As by request from Matey Campoy there, those are the Matadors. Matadors with Johnny Garfield on lead, Fred. That's who it is, March 1957. On the Sue record label, actually kicked off Sue Records. Imagine being an employee. I would love to have been an employee at Sue Records. Start off in 1957. They went all the way into, the late 60s, I think? Late 60s on Sue Records, and you say, I was there when it started with the Matadors, the first record, but that's a great tune there. Vengeance, parentheses, Will You Be Mine. And I have 2 copies of this, and I was actually going to post it late last night. I was supposed to say, okay, you collectors out there, can you see the slight variation in these labels and see if they would be able to pick it out? I was going to do it for that one. I was going to do it also for the Roulettes on the Champ label. We'll talk about that later. But I will show you. The one I played was without 45 RPM. I'm getting technical now for you collectors out there. But a great request. Thank you for that, matey. We continue here on the Vinyl Treasures Show. Now, on last week's show, I played a request for George Tompkins. He requested... George requested the Echoes on the Specialty label, and earlier I featured the Echoes on the G label, but they were a completely different group than this West Coast Echoes group that actually recorded, had a prior release on the Combo label, but when they signed with Art Roop's Specialty label, they became 3 guys and 2 girls, and one of the girls was Darlene Wright, a.k.a. Darlene Love, and the lead singer on this, Mazette Freeman. And last week I played the side called Someone. That's the side that George requested. This week, Daryl requested the flip side, so let's give it a spin here. March 1957. These are the Echoes on the Specialty label with Mazette Freeman on lead and their rendition of the tune, Over the Rainbow.
Somewhere over the rainbow, wish upon a star, and I'll wake up when the clouds are far behind. When trouble felt like lemon drops away up on the chimney top, that's where you'll find me. Well,
As by request for Darrell Letts, their group called the Echoes. And their rendition of the Judy Garland did that first back in her movie The Wizard of Oz there, I take it. But that's soon March 1957 there by the Echoes. Mazette Freeman on lead on the specialty label Over the Rainbow. And last week I mentioned that they also backed up Clyde King, but I said as Little Clyde, that was wrong on the RPM. Really, they backed her up on specialty with the song Our Romance, which I think is a great tune and written on the wall both sides. I incorrectly mentioned Little Clyde on RPM, so I am correcting it. And what else did they say was another song that they recorded a lot of? Maybe White Cliffs of Dover. That's another song that many of the vocal groups have recorded. I'm trying to think, there was another record that was recorded quite a bit. Johnny G losing his mind here. Hope you're digging on the cool tunes here. It's my 1950s and early 60s edition of the Vinyl Treasure Show. Next week is the last Saturday of the month. That means 1964 and later sound. So if you like the post Beatle sound, tune into next Saturday night, 10 o'clock, 10 to 1 p.m. for some of those 45s that I also collect. But for the remainder of the months or the remainder of the weeks, on a Saturday evening, it's 1950s and early 60s vocal group harmony. And we move into 1958 now. Lots of requests from 1958 and flip sides in this year. But Evan requested the J-Tones last week, a group from the South Bronx, and their second overall release on the Brunswick label. It was called The Clock. Now, I think it was Reed and Darrell that asked for the flip side. We're going to spin it for them. And the writer on this one here is Julius Dixon, who probably leased this master from his Timely label, probably recorded for his Timely label and leased it to Brunswick. And there's another writer credit on here. Her name is Beverly Ross, who also recorded with as Ronald and Ruby. And she wrote the song Lollipop before, and actually they did it before the Chordettes had the hit with it, but the Chordettes had a hit with Lollipop. She also wrote Dim Dim the Lights for Bill Haley and the Comets, The Girl of My Best Friend. I think Elvis first recorded that, but Raul Donner had the hit for that. Remember Then by the Earls, this gal recorded, and Judy's Turn to Cry, some big hits there, and many others, that being Beverly Ross. But she co-wrote this song, which is what I call a cool novelty. And who was telling me about cool novelties? Was it you, Byron, that was talking about me to play cool novelty tunes? Well, this would be a cool novelty tune. This is going out to Reed and Darrell. This one from August 1958. And the prices have gone up now for gasoline, but thank goodness Johnny G has been working from home. So I use my car once a week or maybe twice a week. I'll go visit Barbara, or I'll go shopping in Thornwood, New York, to shop at the shop right there. But anyway, it's going out to Reed and Darrell. These are the J-Tones on Brunswick with a tune called Gasoline.
How's that gasoline? Well, I was driving down the highway
fire.
I was out of gasoline. 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 Whoa.
Taking wooden locomotive rough terrain. Me got no time for no octane. Me heat big chief, uranium king, and he took off in his private plane. Gasoline.
I was out of gasoline.
I was walking in the desert till I looked around. I was smack in the middle of an old ghost town. Met an old prospector with a big straw hat. I asked for gasoline, he said, I was flat. He gave me his buggy and his red mule to and back. Brought me home to you. Gasoline.
August 1958 there by the J-Tones. Novelty tunes here on the Vinyl Treasure Show, going out to Reed and Daryl. Gasoline is the name of the tune. Came out on the Brunswick record label. I'm going to tell you that I've been saving a lot of money in my transportation costs in and out of Newark, because that's not going to be happening anymore. I actually have to go into the office and clean my desk off, because we're going to be going to something called hoteling. So the company realizes that we don't need to be there all the time. If there is a positive byproduct of the pandemic, it's that I do not have to go into Newark, New Jersey every day driving in from New York. So that is a plus, but the work has gotten harder. I will tell you that much. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening as we continue here. We are in the year 1958. Here's a request for Rick and Philly. This group is out of Columbus, Ohio. They were called the Columbus Pharaohs, and Rick requested their debut single. Came out on Eve Estadad's Esta label, and it features Morris Wade on lead. This is a killer ballad here by request for Rick and Philly, May 1958. The Columbus Pharaohs is on the first press on the Esta label. It's called Give Me Your Love.
Give me your love, and I will make you mine. Our love will flow as smooth as wine if you just give me your love. And I promise to love only you. I promise our love will be true if you just give me your heart. I love you when I hold you in my arms.
Yes, darling, you know that I need, that I love you
with all your many times.
to be your love, and I will make you mine. Our love will flow as smooth as wine if you just give me your love. Darling, give me your love.
As by request for Rick and Philly, what a great tune that is by the Columbus Pharaohs. May 1958 release there. Morris Wade, he's the lead singer of the group. It's called Give Me Your Love. Initially came out on the Esta label only regionally in the Columbus, Ohio area, but then was picked up, re-released on the Ransom label later on in 1958 as the Four Pharaohs. Then there was even a third release of this. High Weiss picked it up in 1959 and put it out on his Paradise record label. I think there is another re-recording of this also by, I forget who the group is, but I think it was re-recorded. But this same one you can get. Probably the cheapest would be on the Paradise label by High Weiss's Old Town Paradise label. But what a great record that is. And their other one is even harder. The actually they do two other records, and the other one is by Morris Wade. Doesn't mention the group, but they are backing him up. Forget the name of it, but that was another expensive record. Johnny G babbling on here. We continue. Lots of requests in 1958 here, and we continue with the flip sides from last week, as I filled a request for George Tompkins. He requested the Excels, a group out of Brooklyn, New York, and their side on the Central label. It was called You're Mine Forever, which was a nice ballad. Now, listener Daryl mentioned to play the flip side before I file this back down in the No Humidity basement. Now, this side was written by group member Raymond Diaz. Now, Raymond and two other members of this group, Benny Travis and Harry Hillard, they previously recorded with the Miners on the Celeste label. That's another great tune on the Celeste label. But the lead singer on this is Freddie Orange. So we're going to send this one out to Daryl. June 1958, the Excels on the Central label. It's called Baby Doll.
Boom, 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 boom.
I met my baby down the street, took her hand and kissed her so sweet, 'cause I love her and she loves me, my baby doll. First you're in love and then engaged, then you're married, and then with a carriage, that's the line. I leave my friends with my baby doll. Baby, my baby doll. I met my baby down the street, took her hand and kissed her so sweet, 'cause I love her and she loved me, my baby doll. Baby doll, baby doll, baby doll, baby, baby doll, baby doll, baby doll, baby doll.
There you go. Those are the Excels there. June 1958 release on the Central record label. Baby Doll is the name of the tune. Freddie Orange on lead for that one. And Daryl, no, I don't have that Pretenders on the Central label. Ultra rare record. And I think Dom DeLea has a copy of that record. At least Spence told me that he did. But I'm sure the other guys, or a couple of the other guys, might have the copy. I don't know. But it definitely is a rare record. I have it on the ABC Paramount label, and I think it also came out on the Apt label. That I do have that Pretenders on there. Daddy Needs Baby and the ballad, the flip side. But anyway, Johnny G here for a Saturday evening as we continue here. And up next, a request for Nat Papagallo for a group called The Crowns, which included, or this Crowns release on the R&B label. This included future lead singer of the Drifters, Benny King. He was a member of this group, and Ben was using his real name at the time, which was Benjamin Earl Nelson, but then he changed it in 1959 when he became lead of the Drifters. But Nat requested the intended B-side, which was written by Doc Pomus and Mort Schumann, who also owned this R&B label, and the lead singer on this is James Papa Clark. This one from February 1958 by request for Nat the Crowns on the RNB label. It's called I'll Forget About You.
But you ignored me or played hard to get. Now that I'm happy with somebody new, I'll forget about you. I'm sorry, darling, but you had your chance. But you refuse me and my romance. Now that I'm happy with somebody new, I'll forget about you. For once I love you truly. I try to treat you kind, but you just ignored me. I thought that I was wasting my time. Oh, you know I love you right from the start. You played a game, dear, and broke my heart. Now that I'm happy with somebody new, I'll forget about you. I'll forget about you.
B-sides here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. That one there requested by Nat Papagallo. Cool tune there. Great B-side there for The Crowns. James Papa Clark on lead, February 1958. I'll Forget About You. Came out on the RNB record label. James Papa Clark, he was the main lead on the early Five Crowns material that came out on the Rainbow record label. Interesting thing about this record, because I have multiple copies of this, and I think more of a yellower copy copy of thin vinyl. This one is a Delta West Coast press, thick press. When I saw this, I said, I got to get this. I'm not losing this record because this is how I want to have it, this record. I think this is a true first press of this West Coast record. Anyway, Johnny G here for a Saturday evening or maybe it's not. Maybe this is out of New York. TM Records. Actually, where is R&B Records out of? I gotta go check as I lose my mind here as we continue here on the Vinyltreasure Show. Now, last week I played a request for Rick in Philly. He requested George Kerr and the Serenaders, featured it on the second label, MGM Records. It originally came out on the Chock Full of Hits label, which of course Johnny G, being a completist, has both of them, but the MGM press plays so much cleaner than that grainy Chock Full of Hits press. But anyway, the side that Rick requested was Never Let Me Go, and I had all intentions to play the flip side too. Daryl, though, beat me to it in chat. Now, this song co-written by the lead singer, that being George Kerr, and we go back to Newark, New Jersey for this group, the Serenaders, February 58 on MGM Records. It's called I Wrote a Letter. February 1958, the Serenaders there, George Kerr on lead, the first of two on MGM Records, although that first came out on the Chock Full of Hits label. I Wrote a Letter is the name of the tune. Johnny G wrote a letter. I wrote a letter to the IRS. I do the tax return for my company's foundation. They sent a penalty. I hate that because I did everything fine. I sent return receipt requested. I got the green card. They received it ahead of time before the due date. I filed an extension, and then they penalized the company for a lot of money. So I'm like, this is crazy. And thank goodness that we have, we keep all the records. So I had to write a letter to them over in Utah, and they said, you're right, we were wrong. And so we reversed all the penalty charges. I felt good with that, but never, you'd think that the company would give me a little recognition about that, but no, they didn't. Oh well, but I did write a letter. Johnny G here on a Saturday evening. We continue here. Let's stay in the year 1958 with another flip side, this time a rare record on Ben Smith's Extra label, and it's by a group called the Four Bel Airs. They were from Washington, D.C. Played the jump side last week. It was called Tell Me Why. I think it was George. I think he requested the flip side here, which is a nice ballad. And I guess, you know, when collectors hear this song, they think of the Mellow Moods version of this tune, the song called Where Are You? But Where Are You they did in 1951, I think, on the Robin label. But this is a version that has a very different arrangement, and it features Alfred Robinson on lead. We'll send this one out to George. Spring of 1958. Give a listen to the Four Bel Airs. The Four Bel Airs on Extra, and their rendition of the tune, Where Are You?
Searching, 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 searching. Will I ever find someone, someone who will give me peace of mind? Where are you now that I need you? Now that I want you so badly, I could cry.
Send that one out to George Tompkins there, the Four Bel Airs. Alfred Robinson, he's on lead. Spring 1958. Their rendition of the tune Where Are You came out on Ben Smith's Extra Records. If you're collecting a label, lots of hard stuff, at least on the original small print extras. You can get the larger print extras, I'm thinking of the who does the Collegians, right? Are they on the Extra label? Johnny G drawing a blank here. As we continue here, we are in the year 1958. I had a lot of records out of the year 1958. And last week, I played a request for Matey Campboy, the debut single. She requested the debut single for Bobby Hamilton. His real name was Robert Castro. It was released on the Apt label. A song he co-wrote was called Crazy Eyes for You. It was a top 40 record on a Billboard Hot 100 national Billboard charts. Now, my Aunt Mary, she bought that 45 back in 1958, and I still have her trashed copy. Actually, she didn't trash it. I trashed it. She never used to keep her records in sleeves, and she would, I think she used to work in the cafeteria down at General Motors, and I used to play with the 45s. They weren't in sleeves, so I'd be walking around the house with the records, scratching them and getting all grime on the records. Just imagine. And I remember one time, I think I broke down the road by the Cadillacs, and she said to me, I can't find these records anymore. You can't find these in the store anymore. Once they're broken, that's it. And I remember, I think it was You're So Fine by the Falcons on the Unart label, which is a styrene press. I split it in half, and she tried to tape it, and she says, I can't listen to this anymore. She was really upset about that. But unfortunately, she's no longer here. I can give her probably 10 copies of that record now. But anyway, I really have all her records still in my collection, and I will always treasure them, no matter how worn out and scratched they are. But she is a part of me and a part of my musical history and my makeup of this music, so I will always keep this original that she had. But this is a better copy, and she played her flip sides. I tell Dave the Rave, you got to play your flip sides all the time. So she would flip that record over, and sometimes the B-sides are better than the A-sides, even though I think that my boss when I worked for Sony Music said, the B-sides were throwaway records. They really didn't put a lot of emphasis on the B-sides. Well, I don't think that was the case in the 1950s and early 60s. Maybe in the 70s, and then they would come out with the same song on both sides, so you didn't have a B-side. Anyway, Johnny G babbling on too much here, but I'm going to send this one out to my late Aunt Mary up in heaven there, but she always loved both sides of this record. This one from June 58, Bobby Hamilton on Apt. It's a B-side. It's called While Walking Together, parentheses, Thinking of Love.
While walking together in good or bad weather, you know what we're both thinking of. We're thinking of love.
B-sides here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. That's Bobby Hamilton. Bobby Hamilton, June 1958. The flip side of Crazy Eyes for You While Walking Together, parentheses, Thinking of Love, came out on the Apt label. Apt, at this time, 1958, were making lots of money. Lots of money with Little Star at the time was a big hit for the Elegants, and it was a subsidiary of ABC Paramount Records. Actually, Apt was really a payola label, believe it or not. When Alan Freed was on WABC, he had to push the ABC and Apt records. So I wish I could listen to some of those old, if there are any of those, what do they call them? Those, what do they call when disc jockeys, they tape their shows? They don't, I mean, they tape their, type it in, the chat room there. Sound, I don't know what they're doing. Johnny G losing his mind. Somebody will type in, but you can listen to like an Alan Freed clip. They don't play the entire record, but they'll play, like, you hear him announcing and you hear the commercials, and then they play part of the record. What do they call? They're not transcripts. There's something else. There's actually a website that has all the air checks. Fred got it right. Thank you, guys. There they all type it in. Air checks. There's some pretty cool air checks out there. There's one of Alan Freed out on KDAY where he plays the marathons on this Don't Know Why on the Sabrina label. He follows it up with Chris Montez's first record that came out on the Guaranteed label. It's called They Say. It's a slow ballad. It's very interesting to hear those things. Anyway, Johnny G babbling on. We continue here, and this one here, well, I lost my place here. Here we go. Whoops, wrong thing here. Where am I going here? We're not done here. Here we go. Opened up the show last week with a group called the Adelphis on the Rim label. That was a request for Rick and Philly, a group from Brooklyn, New York. Rick requested Kiss a Kiss was the name of the tune, and we opened up with that. But here's the flip, which I like, and it's the group's second of two they recorded for the Rim label. Now, for you collectors out there, if you own this record, if yours says Shine Again, that is the second press. The true first press needs to have the parentheses, The Sun Will, and Shine Again under it. That's my little tidbit to you, for you collectors out there. But I like this side here. December 58, the Adelphis on Rim. It's called, in parentheses, The Sun Will Shine Again.
Hello, young lovers. Do not despair. Your love will bloom again. Someday, somewhere. The sun will shine again, and our love will never end. Won't you please come back again? For I love you so. Oh, yes. As far as we could see,
A dangerous crack at the end of that record there, but that's a cool tune. I like that record. That tune by the Adelphis there, their second release on the Rim label, December 58, The Sun Will Shine Again. Thanks, guys. I'm glad you like that tune there by the Adelphis. Let's continue now. Here's a request for new listener, a YouTube listener, Bip Hop Boom, and an interesting song here. If you understand the lyrics of this tune, please send them to Johnny G at Vinyltreasures, Vinyltreasures at AOL.com. If you can get me the lyrics to this next song here. I think it was disc jockey Alan Fredericks. He played this on his Night Train show where the listeners really enjoyed the record, and Slim Rose, owner of Times Square Records, convinced Fenway Records, the Fenway label, a label out of Pittsburgh, to reissue it, and they did in 1960, and the record charted in the Pittsburgh area. Then Jerry Blavat started playing the record in 1963, and then Atlantic Records issued it. They issued it in 1963. They put it out once again, but I'm featuring it on the original press, which is the All-Star label, and this is going out by request to Bip Hop Boom. This one from March 1958. These are the Versatones. The Versatones on the All-Star label, and the name of the tune is called Billa. Caught here. Hold on one second, folks. I gotta put this other Eldorado's record on the chart. That I guess with songs like Rubber Biscuit, that Shambhalar, you can do a whole cool novelty show. I guess you can with records like that. But very interesting. Actually, the instrumentation is pretty great on that record there. But that one there, by request for a Bip Bop Boom there, by request, the Versatones, March 1958, Baila. I said Billa, but it's Byla, B-U-Y. Got to phonetically write it. Byla is the name of the tune. Came out on the All-Star record label. Now, there was another Versatones group on RCA, but that's a totally different group. They're not the same group. From my understanding, they weren't the same group. But anyway, they're a cool tune. Thanks for that request. A bip, bop, boom. Johnny G here on a Saturday evening. We continue here. Last week I played a request for Rick in Philly. He requested the newly formed El Dorados, which included the original lead, Perco Lee Moses, but the group backing them up were really the Cool Gents. They also recorded for VJ Records. They have two great records on VJ, by the way. But Rick requested the up-tempo side. It was called Boom Diddy Boom, and I purchased the 45 for this side. It's their 9th release on the VJ label. We go back to January 58, the El Dorados. El Dorados, Perco Lee Moses on lead, VJ Records. It's called 3 Reasons Why.
There are 3 reasons why I love you with all my heart. There are 3 reasons why I care. Here is reason number 1. You're an angel from heaven above. Darling, it's you I'm thinking of. Well, there are 3 reasons why I love you. Here is reason number 2. You make me happy when I'm sad. When we're together, gee, I'm glad. Well, there are 3 reasons why I love you. You're so lovable, so wonderful, so very nice, so very nice, just like paradise. To kiss you once or twice, and I'll never, 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 never forget. Here is reason number 3. This is the greatest of all the 3. I love you because you're the first love for me. Well, there are 3 reasons why I love you. Yes, there are 1, 2, 3 reasons why.
As Perco Lee Moses and the El Dorados, really the Cool Gents there. They're liking that one there in the YouTube chat room. 3 Reasons Why, January 58 release. Vivian Carter's VJ record label. That's not an easy one to find by them. One of the harder ones to find, at least later on, 1958. But that plays nice too. Not all the VJs play nice. Lots of them recycled vinyl. They don't, but I'm lucky that one plays well. Johnny G here, spinning original vinyl 45s. I told you got a lot of records out of 58. Now last week I played a rare one for Nat Papagallo on the Mark label, a label out of Utica, New York, by the Teenage Moonlighters. Really have no info on this group, but it's most of the records on this Utica label not easy to find. They are probably easier to find up in Utica, New York, though. But the side I played was called Sorry Sorry, and the flip is a jump. I think Daryl requested the flip side of this from October 1958. Let's give it a spin here before it goes back down in the no humidity basement. The Teenage Moonlighters. That is a cool name, by by the way. It's on Mark Records. It's called I Want to Cry. Wait, that didn't. I pressed it too hard. Those are the Teenage Moonlighters there, October 1958. Came out on the Mark record label out of Utica, New York. I Want to Cry is the name of that. We'll send that one out to Lino. He likes that tune there. He's got expensive taste, Lino. That's a rare 45 on the Mark label. I need an upgrade on my Supremes on that label, and I don't have the other one. It's a hard record. But all those upstate New York records are hard. Bebo Singleton, The Shrine of the Echoes, Dearest Doris, that's a hard record. The Valderos. Was that the Valderos year on Esta? I Surrender, I think that's another one, which I'm sorry I didn't buy the better copy. It's my mistake. Johnny G babbling on here. Let's continue here. We go back to Brooklyn, New York. We go for a request for listener Andrew Turner. I think Andrew, he's been listening to the Vinyl Treasure Show in Reading, Pennsylvania. We say hi to Andrew. This is on a label called Champ Records. Now, the group is called the Roulettes. Now, this group and label involved with band leader Al Brown. Now, George Goldner would become involved with this record as he would eventually distribute it. And I have a copy that doesn't say distributed by Gone, and I think you can see it on my Facebook post, but it doesn't play well. It's a record I bought from the Count, Bob Ellis, way back in the 80s. Didn't charge me a lot, but it's kind of trash. But I bought multiple copies, but I never was able to find another one without the distributed by Gone. But all of them play with some type of surface noise for some reason. I don't know why, but this one isn't bad. One of the 4 copies that I ended up buying. But anyway, this before Goldner became involved with this record, Jocko Henderson and Barry Golder, they pressed these up. They also own the Mainline label. You might know the Superiors on the Mainline label, also Lee Andrews and the Hearts, but they always would go to to Goldner and to Leonard Chess for national distribution. But anyway, this one is going out to Andrew Turner. It features Billy Galante on lead. We go back to August 1958 for the Roulettes on the Champ label. It's called I See a Star.
I see a star shining so high above.
As by request for Andrew Turner there, those are the Roulettes with Billy Galante on lead, August 1958 on the Champ label. I See a Star. That first time I heard that was on Norman Knight's Night Train show, and when he was over on, I think he was on CBS FM originally, Norman Knight? I'm not, as Johnny G draws a blank, but this group would have one more release on the Scepter label in 59. There's the Singing Roulettes, and the lead singer there, Billy Galante, he would go on to have other solo releases, by the way. Scribbling on the Wall is another one he had. I was going to play that. I think Evan requested that record. Just haven't gotten to it. Lots of 60s requests I still have to feature. But anyway, it's going out to Andrew Turner there. We continue here. Here's a request for George Tompkins. We heard from the Swallows earlier in the show, request for Daniel Kubacki, their nice rendition of I Only Have Eyes for You. But they disbanded by 1953, but in 1957, group member Eddie Rich, who also did lead on some of the releases, and Calvin Khaki Roulette, they resurrected the group and arranged an audition with King Records, which resulted in 4 releases on the Federal label. And here's one that George Tompkins requested, their 4th release. It features Calvin Roulette on lead. He also co-wrote the song, this one from July 1958. Give a listen to the Swallows, the resurrected Swallows, with the new group members here, but 2 original members, one original member, and the lead singer here, Calvin Roulette, going out to George on Federal Records. It's called Who Knows? Do You?
I pray that someday I'll find someone with a heart so true. If all my prayers are answered, will a prayer come true? Who knows? Who knows? Do you? Of a scene of a cottage just built for two, but dreams are of the mind, dear. Can a dream come true? Who knows? Who knows? Do you? I know that I'm like a clown in a circus. You see, but when you're not here beside me, another laughs on me. Oh, I pray and I dream, and I'm hoping they all will come true, but perhaps it was meant just to be this way. Who knows? Who knows? Do you?
As by request for George Tompkins, what a great record that is by the Swallows, Rejuvenated Swallows there, July 1958. Sid Nathan's Federal record label, Who Knows Do You? Calvin Roulette on lead, and the song he co-wrote with the Federal A&R man Andy Gibson there. That is a great request. Thank you for requesting, George. As we continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show, we move into 1959. And last week I played a request for George by the Castaliers, a group out of Providence, Rhode Island, played the side called I'll Be Around, came out on the Felsted record label in June of 1959. I think it was Daryl that asked for the up-tempo flip side, and we're going to spin it right now here. Features Richard A. Jones on lead. This one from June 1959, the Castaliers on the Felsted label. It's called You're My Dream.
Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom.
Dream, oh yeah, you're my dream. Every night, every day. You're the dream in my heart. Yeah, yeah, oh my dream. Oh yeah, you're my dream. When you're near, when away, you're the dream in my heart. Take away the moonlight, every star above. Just remember, darling, don't take your love from me, my dream. Oh yeah, you're my dream. Every night, every day, you're the dream in my heart. The moonlight, every star above. Just remember, darling, don't take your love from me, my dream. Oh yeah, you're my dream. Every night, every day, you're the dream in my heart.
That's the third release on the Felsted label for the Castaliers. Richard A. Jones on lead, June 1959 release, going out to Daryl there. You're My Dream is the name of the two. We continue here in 1959 for a request for Rick in Philly. This singer was previously lead singer for the Larks that recorded on the Apollo record label, but he had some solo releases on the Columbia label, 3 releases to be exact. This is his final release on Columbia, and this wasn't filed, Rick, but I found it really early last night, so it didn't take me that long, and because I had the record, never featured it here on the show before, but I'm glad you requested this song here from June of 1959. It's his third release on Columbia, written by Barry Dvorzin, and it was directed under the direction of Henry Levine. This is going out to Rick in Philly, June 59, Gene Mumford on Columbia. It's called How Will I Know?
How will I know? How will I know if I should find the one meant for me? I hear people say love will come someday, but if this is so, how will I know? If I should catch her eye as she is passing by, will she hesitate or just walk on? Could there really be someone just for me? And if this is so, how will I know? I've played the game of love before and always seem to lose. And yet someday my luck may change and bring a love that's true. How will I know? How will I know if I should find the one meant for me? Could there really be someone meant for me? And if this is so, how will I know? Oh yes, how will I know?
As by request for Rick in Philly there. I never played that before. I had the record for years, never played it here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. Thanks for requesting that third release there for Gene Mumford. Eugene Mumford there and chorus, June 1959 on the Columbia record label, How Will I Know? Well, you're going to know when Johnny G plays original vinyl because you're going to hear crackle and scratches and some in mint condition. But I'm happy to have these records to feature to you, the Vinyl Treasure Show listeners, Top Shelf Oldies listeners. So I hope you're digging on the cool tunes tonight. Thank you all for the requests. Let's move into 1960 now. Now, last week paid tribute to the late Mary Wilson, her first record that she recorded as not with the Supremes were called the Primettes, and I played the side called Pretty Baby. It featured her on lead from March of 1960 on Lupine. I think it was Daryl requested the flip, which features Diana Ross on lead. Diana Ross on lead here, so we're going to give it a spin. We move into 1960 from March of 1960. The Primettes, they later on became the Supremes, recording for Motown. This is on Lupine. Diana Ross on lead. The song is called Tears of Sorrow. Whoops, you see that that record there at the end? That's by request for Daryl. Also send it out to Reed King there. He likes the Primettes there. Primettes, March 1960. They became the Supremes. That one there on the Lupine record label. Song entitled Tears of Sorrow. Pretty Baby was the flip side. I featured it last week, featuring the late Mary Wilson on lead on the flip. Johnny G here for Saturday evening. We're going to get through some more requests here. Here's a request still out of 1960 for Braden McCalla. We head back to Detroit, Michigan, back to Devorah Brown's Fortune record label. Last week I played the Earthquakes for Braden. He's also looking for their other release on the Fortune label. This is their second, and with Armand King is on lead. I think he changed his name. What was his lead He changed his name by this time, I think. I got to go check the write-up here. I didn't really get a chance to look at this write-up that Charlene did, so I'm kind of winging it here. But anyway, these are the Earthquakes going out to Braden McCallow, 1960 on Fortune. The song is called This Is Really Real.
That I love you, darling, what more can I do?
got me gazing.
I'm not going to mess that up here. Hold on a minute. I messed up there. I apologize, folks. I'm like, this is really real. Actually, let's back up here. This is what we can do with real radio here. This is a request for listener Joe Shacatano. I wasn't going to mess this up. An ultra rare 45. I had it right. It's out of Detroit, Michigan, but I have no information about this group. I'm sorry, Joe. This is on the PMP record label from 1960. These are the Delicados. These are the Delicados here on the PMP label. It's called Now I've Confessed. Now Johnny G is confessed of a mess up. See what happens when you don't take your vitamins in the morning here. But anyway, let's give it a spin here. It's a great rare 45 going out to Joe.
Now I've confessed that I love you, darling. What more can I do? Oh, what a crazy old feeling. Funny, my dear, but it's true. You've got me gazing at moonbeams, counting the waves in the sea, whistling Caruso's old love song. People are laughing at me. Here we are in a garden.
Now I confess.
The moon steals the day.
Now I confess.
But when I touch your lips, dear, the moon just fades away. But if you ever should leave me, off in the blue you would go, I'll come to you with my arms wide open. Now I've confessed, dear, you know.
By request for Joe Shacatano, ultra rare 45 by a group called the Delicados, 1960 release on the PMP record label, song entitled Now I've Confessed. Sorry about that mess up, folks. So now let's go to the Earthquakes record from 1960, going out to Braden McCallow. This is on Devorah Brown's Fortune Records. These are the Earthquakes out of Detroit, Michigan, with their tune called This Is Really Real. This is the right record.
Dry your eyes.
never, never let you go. Yes, this is real, this is real, this is really, really real. And I'll never let you go. So come back home before it's too late. Baby, I need you. Let's get this straight. Yes, this is real. This is real. This is really, really real.
As by request for Braden McCallow, 1960, the second release on the Fortune label, The Earthquakes. This is Real is the name of the tune. Yes, Johnny G playing real 45s. We do it every Saturday from 10 to 1 a.m. I'm telling you, Johnny G's flying high here like a kite here. Let's continue here. Here's a request for listener Cheryl Morgan. And this one here, she requested an early Gene Pitney side, although I think in 1960, well, actually, he first recorded in 59 as a duet with Ginny Arnell as Jamie and Jane, and also recorded as Billy Bryan, I think he recorded as on the Blaze label. Then I think he changed his name to Gene Pitney sometime in 1960. But here's one on the Festival label, a tune written by Otis Blackwell. This one from October 61, going out to Cheryl Morgan. Gene Pitney on Festival. It's called I'll Find You.
Yeah. I'll find you no matter where you be. Hiding up, yes, I have fallen in love with you. Don't try to sneak away whatever you do, 'cause I'll find you no matter where you be. Hiding up, you can't run away from love, my pet. Go on and see just how far you get. Meeting you, my darling, has been my greatest thrill. Now if you should leave me, well, I hope you don't think I intend to sit still. I'll find you no matter where you be. Hiding up, you can't run away from love, my pet. Go on and see just how far you get. I'll find you if you are hiding. If you should hide, search across the world for you, my little darling. Whoa, if I do search across the world, I'll find you. Oh, my darling.
As by request for Cheryl Morgan, interesting sound there for Gene Pitney. And a group in the background on the Festival record label. Yeah, Daryl mentions that the Universals did Love Bound and Dreaming on that same label. This one, October 61. I'll Find You is the name of that one. Gene Pitney there. Unfortunate that he died April 5th of 2006 at the age of 65. I think he was on tour when that happened, unfortunately. That is unfortunate. 65 years old. John G looking at 65. I want to retire. I do. I really do. As we continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show, we head to Brooklyn, New York for this next group. A request for listener Joe Shacatano. This group first recorded in 1958 on the Scepter label as Eddie and the Starlights. You know their tune. It was called To Make a Long Story Short, and that featured Eddie Jenkins on lead, and here he is again. The group changed their name to the Whippoorwills. They have this one release on the Josie record label, this one from September 61, requested by Joe Shacatano, the Whippoorwills on Josie, with a song entitled Deep Within.
Deep within, there's a love I try to say. There's a girl I'm dreaming of, building my home to the sky.
As by request for Joe Shacatano there, the Whippoorwills, September 1961, Jerry Blaine's Josie Records, song entitled Deep Within, and lead singer on that was Eddie Jenkins. Eddie Jenkins, he was the lead on Eddie and the Starlights on To Make a Long Story Short. It says accompanied by the Joy Vendors. And then, of course, they would have one more release in 63 as Eddie and the Starlights. That's a good song that they do on the Al John label. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening. We are in now Vinyl Treasure Overtime because I got to get to some requests here. And here's one. Here's a tune I love. This is for my number one California listener, Matey Campboy. This tune written by Billy Dawn Smith and Norman Mapp, who was discovered by Dinah Washington as a jazz singer, but then as a prolific songwriter. And they composed this tune for the Harp Tones. It's their second of two on the companion label, the great Willie Winfield on lead. By request for Matey Campboy, we go to May of 61. The Harp Tones on Companion Records with a song entitled Foolish Me.
Forgive me, my darling, forever doubting you. Foolish me, forgive me,
They said you found somebody new.
Found somebody new.
Foolish me, foolish me, to think that you could be untrue. How could I doubt you?
Foolish, foolish me.
The other night I had to spy.
I had to spy.
Just to see if you were with another guy. I should have known you wouldn't lie. I tried to call your name through the window, oh Alice, but silence took me by the hand. Whoa, whoa, my darling, I'm so ashamed to think I didn't understand. Our love so true cannot go wrong. Foolish me, foolish me. I'll be a good boy from now on. Oh, please forgive old foolish me. Foolish me. Forgive me, my darling, forever doubting you. Foolish me. Forgive me for thinking you are true. I'll be a good boy from now on.
May 61, Willie Winfield and the Harptones there on the Companion label. Second of two on Companion, song entitled Foolish Me. We continue with the request. We go back to Los Angeles, California, to Sid Talmadge's Highland label for a request for Evan Blatt. He went to sleep, but he's going to listen on the archive here, so we'll send this one out to Evan. This group formed while attending Manual Arts High School in Los Angeles, California. It features Finis Petway on lead here. He co-wrote the song with his brother Herman Petway. This one from November 1962. This is a great tune. The group is called The Precisions. It's on the Highland record label. Going out to Evan, it's called 8 Reasons Why I Love You.
8 reasons why I love you.
With your pretty
As by request for Evan Blatt there, the Precisions, a.k.a. the Individuals, also recorded as the Individuals on the, what label? I typed it in. Sparrow label, right, Without Success. Record sounding very similar. November 1962 there on the Highland record label. 8 Reasons Why I Love You. Let's continue here. Got a great girl group sound here out of 1962 on George Goldner's N record label. This is a request for Matey Campboy. She likes those girl group sounds. Both sides of this record written by Alice Adams. I say she's the lead singer on this. So this is on George Goldner's End record label. We go back to April 1962. This is for Matey, their group called the Sweeties. The Sweeties on End. The song is called After You. As by request from Matey Campboy there, great girl group sound by the Sweeties. Sweeties on George Goldner's N record label. Alice Adams, she's the lead singer. Song entitled After You. We continue here now. Last week I played a request for Braden McCallow, a group called the Citations. They're out of Philadelphia, PA, on the Donnell label. The side that he requested was called It Hurts Me. I think it was Daryl and George asked Johnny G to flip this one over before we file it down in the no humidity basement. So we're going to send it out to Daryl and George. March 1962. These are the Citations. William L. Lucas Jr. on lead. This is on Donnell Records. The song is called A Kiss in the Night.
I hold you tight.
That's going out to Daryl and George. They're the Citations. A Kiss in the Night is the name of the tune, March 1962 on the Donnell record label. As we continue here, 1, 2, 3 more records to go, 3 requests. 2 are Matey's requests. 1 is Cheryl's request, which will be after this. And here's one from Matey Campway. It's a B-side to the Righteous Brothers' first national hit. If you call number 49 on Billboard a hit, number 47 on Cashbox. The A-side was called Little Latin Loopy Loo, which it's okay for me, but it's the B-side that I like on this 45, and kind of a doo-wop sound. Actually, this B-side did chart, was number 37 on KRLA out in Los Angeles, California. It's their first of 13 releases on Ray Maxwell's Moonglow label. Tune written by Bob, I think Bobby wrote this one. Yeah. Bobby Hatfield wrote this. These are the Righteous Brothers, going out to Matey Campway. This is her sound from November 1962 on the Moonglow record label. The Righteous Brothers with a tune called I'm So Lonely.
I'm so lonely, lonely, lonely. I want to still you cry. I want to still to be for me. I want your love. I'm so lonely, oh, so lonely. My heart would break inside if you turn your back on me. Now that you know I love you so. So look in my eyes, tell me that you're mine. I'll never, ever let you go. I pray to the Lord above that you will be my love. So hear my prayer. I need your love. I'm so lonely, 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 lonely. I'm so lonely, I'm so lonely. Let me tell you now, I'm so lonely, so lonely, I'm so lonely, baby. What can I do? Won't you tell me now? What can I do? I'm lonely.
B-sides here on the Vinyl Treasure Show by request for my number one California listener, Matey Campway. They're the Righteous Brothers. I'm So Lonely is the name of the tune. November 1962 release, came out on Moonglow Records. That's their first release on the label. Of course, the A-side, a big hit for them, Little Latin Loopy Loo. We continue now. 2 more 45s to go before Johnny G signs off here. Now, when Johnny Maestro left the Crests in 1962 for a solo career, the Crests continued to record with a new lead singer. His name was James Ancrum. And here is a release they did on the Coral label. I guess kind of like a sequel or answer to their 16 Candles, but this was requested by Cheryl Morgan. This one from April 64, the Crests on the Coral label, going out to Cheryl. It's called You Blew Out the Candles.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. You
the candles at your party last night, all dressed up in your blue chiffon. Oh, what a lovely sight. Oh, you blew out the candles to the sentimental sound of happy birthday, baby, from everyone around. The ring that I brought you sparkled on your hand. Next time I'm gonna bring you a golden band. You look like an angel, and I'll be right at your side when we cut our wedding cake, baby. Then you'll be my bride. Here comes the bride, who blew out the candle. When we cut our wedding cake, baby, then you'll be my bride. You blew out the candles.
As by request for Cheryl Morgan there, those are the Crests. The Crests from April 1964 on the Coral record label, song entitled You Blew Out the Candles. My father blew out the candles February, 90 candles, that is, he blew out. And he's, guess he's feeling okay, I guess. I'm happy to have my parents here. I'm going shopping. I'll do that tomorrow. But that's going to do it for Johnny G and the Vinyl Treasure Show. I want to thank you for joining Johnny G, listening to original vinyl 45s out of my collection. You want to get in touch with me, send me your requests, talk about the show. The email is vinyltreasures@aol.com. And thank you all for all your emails during the week. I enjoy getting correspondence from the listeners. It's a lot of fun for disc jockeys to get that. And thank you all for all your contributions and all your communications. I really do appreciate it. And that's going to do it for tonight's show. Again, next Saturday will be my all 60s show, so I'll see some of you in a couple of weeks. I'll see others of you next week. So I'm trying to get my 60s stuff kind of in order a little bit to be able to look for some of those requests, because I do have those records. I just can't find them. But anyway, that's going to do it. And we're going to close tonight with a request for my number one California listener, Matey Campway, as we head back out to Los Angeles, California. And this group was an offshoot of a group called the Lions that recorded for the Rendezvous record label. They do a nice tune called Two-Timing Lover, but that group consisted of Ray Daugherty, Charles Jackson, James Monroe, James Monroe, Warren, and Horace Pookie Wooten. And they ended up having 3 more releases as a group called the Rasonics. And we're going to give a listen to their second overall release, which came out on Larry Johnson's Little Larry label. It's from 1964, and it's a request from my number one California listener, Matey Campboy. She requested the Rasonics with a song called With Your Love to Guide Me. It's a pretty cool tune and not a cheapo either. Well, I wouldn't say it's, a $500 record, but it's not cheap. But it's a great tune to close out tonight. So thank you all for tuning into the Vinyl Treasure Show. Tune in tomorrow evening for my buddy Dave the Raven, his Relics and Rarities show. I think Dave is, what is his anniversary? His 25th anniversary, I think, on radio. Is it 25 years, Dave? Or is Johnny G losing his mind? But it is an anniversary show tomorrow right here on Top Shelf Oldies. All begins at 9 o'clock, 9 to midnight right here on Top Shelf Oldies. And all the shows during the week beginning at 8 o'clock here on Top Shelf. I'll be back next Saturday, with this cough. I'll be back next Saturday at 10 o'clock for 1964 and later sounds out of my collection. So that's going to do it, folks. Thank you, Charlene, again for all your help. And Charlene didn't have a great time in Texas. She lost power for 4 days. She's like, Johnny G, how am I going to help you? I don't have any. She has no water, or the water's not good. She ran out of food. Her son had to bring food to her. I was worried about Charlene. I couldn't get in touch with her. So, but we're all glad that she's safe, and she is a big part of helping Johnny G to put together the show with her research. So thank you, Charlene. We're glad you're doing well. And again, everybody, take care. I'll see you next week. Some of you in 2 weeks. I want everybody to have a safe and happy week, and watch out for the snow on Monday. And just want to say, everybody, so long.
My dear, I know my love will last a long, long while. With your sweet kiss, pledge of your love and a smile. Stand by me, and darling, I'll be strong. With just your love to guide me on. The touch of your hand is such a fountain of bliss. I give my heart, body and soul for your kiss. So stand by me, and darling, I'll be strong. With just your love to guide me on. I've been bad so long, but now I know
It's because of a love I've yet to find.
what with your love to lead me on.
I'm sure, darling, that everything will turn out fine.
With your love, I can be happy, not sad. With your love, I will no longer be bad. So stand by me, and darling, I'll be strong. With just your love to guide me, I love you. Oh, yes, I do.
From the bottom of my heart, darling. I love you so much.
I'm sorry, folks, if you heard my coughing. I had the mic on there. Darn it. That's a great record. Yes, I do have that split personality by them, the Rasonics. I have all 3 of their records. I have another one, I think, on the Lucky Token label, I think it's called. But yes, this was like an answer record. 16 Candles was in 58, I think. And this is another one in 64. This is like an answer, but of course Johnny Maestro not on lead. But this on the Coral label. And this one, Reed, this is a Jerry Diaz special on this record. I mean, he charged me $200. As I almost drop it. As I'm holding a $200 record, he charged me $200 for this record. It's not mint. It plays okay. It's got a little bit of a warp, but it's a great tune, a low rider tune there. The Rasonics, With Your Love to Guide Me, and yes, George, I do have split personality. So that's going to do it, folks. Thank you all for tuning in again. As I enjoy playing my records here, I tell you, I look forward to the show because it's really my only outlet that I get to really enjoy something during the week, because work is a blah, and all these days, like they're just blended together. It's like whatever. But anyway, thank you all. Hope everybody's doing well. Stay safe, and we'll be, hopefully this virus will be over soon. We'll get back to some kind of back to normal or some sort of normalcy soon, as we get out of although the winter is still continuing here with all the snow. It's supposed to be more on Monday anyway. But anyway, thank you all again. Again, thank you, Charlene, for all your help, even with all the hardship you had in Texas. But again, I'll just want to say again, everybody, good night. Have a good evening. Stay safe. I'll see you next Saturday. Night all. Bye-bye.